Good morning. Welcome to Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace. Welcome to the Soul of Sunday. We are Unitarian Universalists. Ours is an historic faith with a progressive theology. We affirm the worth and dignity of every being, and that we are all deeply interconnected. We are bound to one another, not by creed, but by covenant. And we are called to answer the call of love with open minds, open hearts, and open hands. Whoever you are, those of all nations, all creeds, all colors, all kinds of love, you are welcome here. Today is Transgender Day of Remembrance. On November 28th, 1998, Rita Hester, a Black transgender woman, was murdered in Allston, Massachusetts. Her death inspired a movement. The following year, and for every year since, we set aside a day to turn our attention to loved ones lost to prejudice, bigotry, and violence. Transgender Day of Remembrance has become a worldwide rallying point for a people and a community long under siege. Yes, thank God, progress has been made. And yes, there is still a long, difficult road ahead. Our Unitarian Universalist faith affirms that each and every one of us has inherent worth and dignity. To every single one of you, all of you who have made your way here, welcome to your beautiful, complex, and unrepeatable uniqueness. As we gather in this beloved spiritual community, in the spirit of thanksgiving, we affirm that each of us is a prism through which the light of the sacred shines. Let it shine, my friends. Amen. As we gather, we acknowledge that Arlington Street Church occupies the ancestral homeland of the Massachusetts, especially on this Thanksgiving Sunday, when so many Indigenous communities are in mourning. We recommit ourselves to deeply understanding the impact of colonialism, covenant to center Indigenous peoples' voices as we take our part in the work to repair that which is broken, and recognize, honor, and affirm the sovereignty of all First Nations peoples. Amen.
Our next hymn is We Give Thanks, which will be led by Andrew Stack and Hannah Shanefield. The words can be found in your order of service and in the chat. Please stand now as you're willing and able, and let's sing together, We Give Thanks.
Morning, everybody. This is a call and response hymn, so I'll be singing the call.
I'll be singing the response.
Pick whichever one you want. We give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here, and those far away, for this time we share, with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this
Dear ones, welcome to our Zoomers. Welcome to the congregation gathered here in the sanctuary. A few special welcomes. I want to welcome the Reverend John Gibbons, our community minister for Good Trouble, and his friend JJ. Welcome, JJ. Great to have you. I want to welcome Denise from Provincetown. Reverend Eric has brought her sister. Welcome, Miriam. Great to see you here, my love. And I want to say welcome home to Maureen Peterson. Maureen, where are you? We're so glad to have you back in the house, sweetheart. Welcome. And Sonia's here. The Irby's daughter is here. So happy to see you, darling. Welcome, one and all. It's a special joy to welcome our orchestra. Their names are in the order of service. Welcome Rachel, Julie, Vanessa, Ariel, Anthony, Hyungju. And welcome home to Daniel. So lovely to have you in the house, sweetheart. We've missed you. Thank you to the Arlington Street Church Choir, which has worked so hard to bring us Bach's 196th cantata in celebration of this Thanksgiving Sunday. We can't wait to hear you. Above all, I want to acknowledge and thank my beloved colleague, Director of Music, Mark David Buckles, who never, ever ceases to amaze me with his imagination, artistry, excellence, and extraordinary devotion to making beautiful, beautiful music for us. Thank you, Mark David. I am joined in the pulpit this morning by our beloved executive minister, Reverend Beth Robbins. And let's say a very special thanks to our volunteers here in the sanctuary today, our amazing tech team, Great Doors team, greeters and ushers, and worship team. Thank you, friends. If you're here with a baby or a child, the Coolibecks are holding down the fort over there. They would be so happy to take your baby and whisk it away. Thank you, sweethearts. Following the guidance of the Boston Public Health Commission, we're continuing to mask and physically distance in the sanctuary. Please keep your mask over your nose and mouth the whole time that you're inside to protect our most vulnerable spiritual companions. Thank you, friends. For those of you who are new to Arlington Street, a very special welcome to you. For those of you in the sanctuary, there are welcome cards in the pew racks. Please hand yours to an usher or to Queen Cheryl, or drop it in the basket at the Great Doors as you leave. For those of you in the Zoom room, please fill out a connection card. The link is in the chat. It includes the option to request a link to a recording of today's sermon. Since we can't greet all of you in person after the service, Reverend Beth and I would love to invite you to our upcoming New Friends gathering on Zoom. Whether you've been coming here for years or today is your first time at Arlington Street, welcome home.
Good morning. If you haven't already downloaded today's order of service, it's available in the chat and on the homepage at ascboston.org. For everyone here in the sanctuary, there are printed copies at the Great Doors. Also on the homepage, you'll find a link to Sermon Bingo. Feel free to play along while Reverend Kim preaches. As we begin our greetings, I invite those here in the sanctuary with a device handy to please say hello in the chat and tell us where you're zooming in from today. And now, Rich is going to turn the camera on the incarnate congregation as we wave and smize at each other, as well as at our friends in the Zoom room. And all of you in the Zoom room can wave and smile back. Hello, friends. Let's all engage that Arlington Street spirit of welcome that transcends physical distance as we greet one another heart to heart. It is now time for our treasured ritual of sharing community candles of sorrow and joy. These candles were submitted on our website by the Friday evening deadline. If you didn't submit your candle and have a joy or a sorrow to share this morning, please wait until the third candle is lit, the silent candle, and then type your joy or sorrow into the chat. Zoomers are invited to light candles at home. Those in the sanctuary are invited to light a silent candle at the table up front to the right of the Gleason podium. In addition to sharing our sorrows and joys this morning, let's reach out to one another in the week ahead, staying connected. May these times remind us of how very precious this beloved community is. We need one another. Whether together or apart, may we stay very close. And now, in the spirit of invocation, let's join in singing Sanctuary. The words are printed in your order of service and in the chat.
Some of us come today with heavy hearts. We open our hearts to you.
A candle of sorrow from the Arlington Street community. On this Transgender Day of Remembrance, we remember the transgender people whose lives have been lost to anti-transgender violence this year and over the years. A candle of deep sorrow at the relentless scourge of gun violence in this country. We mourn the lives lost last night at Colorado Springs Club Q. Once again, an attack of hatred has left the queer community reeling. May we rededicate ourselves to a better world. Love is love. Presente. A candle of ongoing concern from the Arlington Street congregation for the people of Ukraine and for the courageous Russians who are standing up to their government. From Nancy Perna, a candle of sorrow acknowledging the passing of Nazma Nazit, a true revolutionary who helped hundreds of Boston youth realize that they had the power to organize and create positive social change. There are not enough words to describe the faith that Nazma had in our youth and the belief that she instilled in them that they too could make a difference. Presente. Our final candle of sorrow this morning is from Fran Peterson. A candle of sorrow for my family after the passing of my sister-in-law, Sherry Peterson, on Tuesday. Sherry fought a courageous battle with idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. Sherry loved her family and worked with the elderly her entire adult career. Please keep my family in your thoughts while we try to navigate this world with another change.
And some of us come today in joy. We share your joy.
An anonymous candle of joy to commemorate the birthday of my wonderful partner and to celebrate the people in our lives who inspire us, uplift us, and lend color to our lives, just as golden sunset pours onto snow in the dawn. From Maureen Peterson. This is a candle of joy, relief, and immense gratitude for all of you who have supported Mike and me over the past 6 months as we've dealt with his prostate cancer. This week, his follow-up PSA tests came back as negative for cancer. This will be a very special Thanksgiving for the Petersons. Bless you all. Our final candle is from the Arlington Street congregation. A candle of celebration for our fabulous treasurer, Liz Texera, who was celebrated in Haverhill this week as an Educator of the Year. Congratulations on this well-deserved honor, Liz. We love you.
For all the sorrows and all the joys we hold in our hearts, we light a silent candle to remember and to rejoice. May the peace of this sanctuary enter into our hearts as we share a quiet moment together, breathing our prayers for ourselves, for one another, for our country, and for the world. Amen.
Let's join now in saying together the affirmation and covenant of this beloved spiritual community.
The words are printed in your order of service and in the chat. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is our gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to speak our truths in love, and to help one another. El amor es el espíritu de nuestra congregación, y el servicio es nuestro regalo. Esto es a lo que nos comprometemos, con vivir en paz, hablar nuestras verdades con amor y ayudarnos los unos a los otros.
Our next hymn is Break Not the Circle, which will be led by Hannah Shanefield. The words can be found in your order of service and in the chat. Please stand now as you're willing and able, and let's sing now together, Break Not the Circle.
The Indian mystic poet Kabir writes, "Leap into experience while you're alive. What we call salvation belongs to the time before death." Leap into experience, into this very moment, right here, right now. These lines are from American poet Adrienne Rich's Transcendental Etude. No one ever told us we had to study our lives. Make of our lives a study as if learning natural history or music, that we should begin with the simple exercises first and slowly go on trying the hard ones, practicing till strength and accuracy became one with the daring to leap into transcendence, take the chance of breaking down in the wild arpeggio or faulting the full sentence of the fugue. And in fact, we can't live like that. We take on everything at once before we've even begun to read or mark time. We're forced to begin in the midst of the hardest movement, the one already sounding as we are born. American Trappist monk Thomas Merton said, "Life is this simple. We are living in a world that is absolutely transparent, and the divine is shining through it all the time. This is not just a nice story or a fable. It is true." I think of that moment in American playwright Eugene O'Neill's Long Day's Journey into Night, when Edmund remembers sailing on the night seas in Argentina. "I lay on the bowsprit with the water foaming into spume under me," he says, "the masts with every sail white in the moonlight, towering above me. I become drunk with the beauty and singing rhythm of it, and for a moment, I lose myself. I actually lose my life. I am set free, dissolved in the sea, become white sails and flying spray, become beauty. And the high, dim-starred sky, I belong within a unity and joy to life itself." If we're very lucky, these moments come unbidden. As the old Unitarian hymn affirms, "The soul hath lifted moments above the drift of days when life's great meaning breaketh as sunrise on our ways." We can choose to live as if lifted moments are available to us at any moment, available here and now, but surely we've missed them over and over. How can we remember to leap, to land in this very moment, and to love one by one? The spiritual practice is to look and see, listen and hear, right now, what the Dominicans call incarnation theology, a spiritual practice of embodiment, of presence in the present moment. An anonymous nun writes, "I have returned to the simple things I learned when I was young. If I'm grading papers, I pray for each student. If I find myself worrying about a patient, I say the rosary. This is what is given now. My life has become one of interconnectedness, the small epiphanies of each moment, well lived. I don't trust the big ones where my ego gets all puffed up. It's either here and now, or we've missed it." We say the devil is in the details, but it's all details. Details are all there is. Mother Teresa taught us this. "I never look at the masses as my responsibility." She said, "I can only love one person at a time, just one. So you begin." I began, she continues, I picked up one person. Maybe if I didn't pick up that one person, I wouldn't have picked up 42,000. The whole work is only a drop in the ocean. But if I didn't put that drop in, the ocean would be one drop less. The same goes for you in your family, your church, your community. Just begin. One. Right here. Right now. Yaqui Indian shaman Don Juan Matus recommends engaging death as our advisor.
He's not being morbid. Death, he says, is our eternal companion. It is always to our left at an arm's length. The thing to do when we're impatient is to turn to our left and ask advice from our death. An immense amount of pettiness is dropped when we remember to consult with our death. I thought of Don Juan's teaching when I read this story from an anonymous Sufi master who crashed his motorcycle when he was 19 years old. I was on the critical list, he says, with broken bones and internal injuries. As my mind cleared, I remembered that for a second after the impact, I was looking down at my body. I was just a short distance above. I could see, but my being was completely non-physical. It was quiet and peaceful. I was relieved. I knew I had the option to return to my body or let go into this wonderful darkness. But when I looked at the scene on the street below, what arose was this intense feeling of love. Love for life. Love and joy made me come back. They told me that in the ambulance I was crying and laughing. I felt a reality of freedom that was beyond the physical, an intense joy and happiness that has motivated my spiritual life now for 35 years. I love this reality. I have followed its call. The thing to do is to ask advice from our death. Right here. Right now. American Buddhist teacher Larry Rosenberg undertook a pilgrimage in Korea. On a remote road, he came across an elegant shrine at the base of a mountain. Next to the shrine was a sign that said, "Way to the most beautiful Buddha in all of Korea." An arrow pointed to the 1,000-step path carved into the side of the mountain. And so Larry climbed. He climbed and climbed until at last he reached the top. The view was breathtaking in every direction. And there was a simple stone altar. But it was empty. Where the statue of the most beautiful Buddha in all of Korea should have been, there was nothing but the green-hilled vista beyond. Next to the altar was another sign. It said, "If you can't see the Buddha here, you had better go down and practice some more." Oh, we had better practice some more. We rise, we fall, we lose our way. The wife of a well-known Hindu teacher says, "My husband came home from his last visit to India in an amazing state. He was enlightened for 6 months until he spent time with his mother." Another Hindu teacher tells the story of coming home from India, becoming a revered teacher in America, and going to visit his family. One day, he was taking care of his nephew. It was a hard day for the Swami and the 3-year-old, he says. We messed up the house. He threw a tantrum. Finally, I took him in my arms and just held him, singing Sanskrit melodies. And I realized that's all the world wants, to be held in spite of it all. The bliss returned as soon as I opened my heart. Right here, right now. The bliss returns as soon as we remember. When you feel the most conflicted, stop. Look beyond the drama. Look for the vulnerability. See the pain. Breathe. Breathe.
listen for your heart. Listen to your heart. It has an astonishing capacity for compassion. Several years ago, arrangements were made for the Gyutu Tantric Choir, Tibetan monks famous for their deep, multifocal chanting, to perform in California's San Quentin prison, and for the San Quentin Gospel Choir to sing in response. It seemed like such a great idea. And then someone really thought about it. The San Quentin guys were huge. Working out was a survival strategy, and every one of them was a born-again Christian. Their songs were testimonials to the depth of their suffering and to their experience of the saving grace of the Christian gospel. It doesn't take much imagination to see the monks as their hosts saw them. The monks were, in a word, heathens, short heathens, and they arrived wearing long maroon skirts. It wasn't looking good. And then someone on the host committee saw clearly, saw beyond their differences and into the heart of their shared experience. That person stepped up. Almost all of these Tibetan men who have joined us today have spent years in harsh prisons. They were imprisoned for their beliefs and tortured. Many of their brothers died. Some of our guests were released, others escaped. Then, to find freedom, they walked across the Himalayas, the highest mountains on earth. They tied rags on their feet because they had no shoes. And now they live in exile, far from home. They may never see their families again. Through all of their suffering, all of their struggle, what has kept them going are their songs and their prayers. This is what they will share with us today. And so the Tibetans sang, and the Americans sang. They attended to one another's music with hearts broken open by suffering, hearts broken open to their shared humanity. When the performance was over, they came together to embrace like long-lost brothers. The soul hath lifted moments. The heart breaks open right here, right now. An old Hasidic rabbi asked his students how they could tell when the night had ended and the day had begun, for that is the time for certain prayers and holy rites. Is it the moment the hills lighten in the distance? No. Is it when you can see an animal at a distance and know that it's a sheep or a dog? No. Is it when you can look at a tree in the distance and tell if it's a fig or a pear tree? No, replied the rabbi again, it is something very close. Very close. It is when you can look on the face of every person and see that they are your family. Until then, it is still night. Beloved spiritual companions, let us practice incarnation theology. May we leap to land in this very moment. What we call salvation belongs to this time before death. All the world wants is to be held in spite of it all. May our hearts break open to our shared humanity. Let us love one, right here, right now. Amen.
Wow. Thank you so much to Mark David and to all of our musicians. Just extraordinary. Friends, Arlington Street is entirely self-sustaining. It's up to us. And your generosity continues to be astounding. Thank you for your commitment to our staff, our building, and our beloved spiritual community. Each Sunday, we share our collection plate with a partner in our mission of love, service, justice, and peace. Today, we're thrilled to be supporting our own Jerry Buckles' annual Motor City Christmas Drive. Jerry is Mark David's mom. She zooms in most Sunday mornings from her home outside Detroit, and many of you know her from the chat. What you may not know is that for almost 30 years, she has led a huge drive to provide amazing Christmas goodie bags to some 500 unhoused and under-resourced adults and children in the poorest neighborhoods in Detroit. You can read more about it in your order of service. Today, with grateful hearts, let's support Jerry's extraordinary undertaking. Thank you for your generosity.
Woman on the radio talks about revolution when it's already passed her by. Bob Dylan didn't have this to sing about. You know, it feels good to be alive. I'm alive and I waited. I was alive and I waited for this. Right here, right now. There is no other place I want to be. Right here, right now. Watching the world wake up from history. I saw the decade end when it seemed the world could change at the blink of an eye. And if anything, then there's your sign of the times. I was alive and I waited. I was alive and I waited for this. Right here, right now. There is no other place I wanna be. Right here, right now. Watching the world wake up from history. Right here, right now. There is no other place I wanna be. Right here, right now. Watching the world wake up from history. I was alive and I waited. I was alive and I waited for this. Right here, right now. There is no other place I wanna be. Right here, right now. Watching the world wake up from history. Right here, right now. There is no other place I wanna be. Right here, right now. Watching the world wake up from history.
Thank you, Mark David. After today's service, our transformation team for racial justice is holding a drop-in meeting. They write, do you want to put anti-racism into practice at Arlington Street? Would you like to meet others who share that passion? If so, please join us after virtual coffee hour, in person in the Perkins Room downstairs, or by using the Zoom link at ascboston.org. There are weekly gatherings in the Zoom room for loving kindness meditation, poetry, yoga, and writing. On Tuesday evening, Reverend Kim hosts Buddha's Belly Book Group and the Arlington Street Meditation Center. Every Wednesday, Reverend Kim and I host a tea party with a conversation prompt. This week's prompt is there an episode from your teenage years for which you might owe the people who raised you or someone else an apology? Next Sunday, following the service, El Jefe, also known as Kevin Terrell, will lead Bringing in the Greens, transforming our sanctuary with beautiful Christmas decorations. If you're local and you'd like to be part of it, please speak to Kevin, Reverend Kim, or to me. It's always a lot of fun to bring the magic. Information and Zoom links are at ascboston.org, as are listings for all of our many upcoming holiday gatherings. To attend any of these, you don't have to be an official member. You don't have to turn on your video or talk if you don't want to, and they're all free. All are always welcome. Following the service, everyone is invited to join the virtual coffee hour. If you'd like to participate, please answer yes to the breakout room invitation that will appear on your screen. If you're here in the sanctuary, you'll need to go into the Zoom room before the postlude begins. Reverend Kim and I will be out front. If you're here in person, after virtual coffee hour, please come say hello and linger to visit on the sidewalk. Thanks to all of you who've joined in today's service and all those who've made it possible. Remember, we're in this together. I love you. Our closing hymn today is We Sing Now Together, which will be led by Angela Yam. The words can be found in the order of service and in the chat. Please stand now as you're willing and able, and let's sing together. We sing now together.
For our benediction, I invite those of you in the Zoom room to please reach out your hands and touch the sides of your squares. And those of you in the sanctuary to please raise your hands, palms out. Let's send loving kindness to the people to your left and to your right. Send loving kindness to the person on either side of you and to the people on either side of them. Send out love into this beloved spiritual community and feel it coming back to you. Love is the spirit of this congregation. And now for our benediction, I invite you to put your hands over your heart in Namaste. I bow to the divine in you. From Bob Frankie's Thanksgiving Eve. It's so easy to dream of the days gone by. It's a hard thing to think of the times to come. But the grace to accept every moment as a gift is a gift that is given to some. What can we do with our days but work and hope? Let our dreams bind our work to our play. What can we do with each moment of our lives but love till we've loved it away? Let us keep this faith, beloveds, and pass it on. The service begins when the service ends. Bless your hearts. I love you. Happy Thanksgiving. Amen.
Please visit ascboston.org for more information about this historic Unitarian Universalist congregation. Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace.